I know there's a lot of folklore that goes with the masterpiece called The Lord's Supper, painted by Da Vinci. Whether this is true or not, I love the story and recently read this about the painting itself. When Leonardo da Vinci was working on his famous painting, The Last Supper, he had become very angry with one of his assistants. With a flurry of furious epithets, he berated the man without mercy. After banishing his assistant from his studio, he went back to work on the painting, and as an act of revenge to his assistant, he used his assistant's face, who had offended him, to paint the face of Judas. Oh my goodness. But as he tried to paint the face of Jesus, he couldn't do it. No matter how hard he tried, he was unable to paint the face of Jesus. So he stopped painting, went back to the man who was his assistant, who had received the full force of his anger, and asked for his forgiveness. Only when the man forgave him and they reconciled was Da Vinci able to return back to the painting and to the table of the Last Supper and paint the face of Jesus. When Leonardo showed mercy and pardon to his assistant, Jesus became a lot clearer. This is where we land on the 260 journey today. Jesus becomes clearer to us, and the world around us is based on how we respond to people that hurt us, take advantage of us. In fact, when you read this chapter, it's about Christian retaliation, Christian revenge, how to best retaliate to people that are just plain mean to us. Listen to Jesus' words in Luke's Sermon on the Mount in today's Luke 6 passage, starting in verse 27. But I say to you who hear, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. Whoever hits you on the cheek, offer him the other one. And whoever takes your coat, do not withhold your shirt from him either. Give to everyone who asks of you, and whoever takes away what is yours, do not demand it back. Treat others the same way you would want them to treat you. Here is Christian retaliation. Do good to those that hate you. Pray for those who mistreat you. Think about that. Pray for those who mistreat you, not post about those that mistreat you. If they hit you, offer them the other side. If they steal, give them something else they didn't ask for. Give to everyone who asks of you and don't even demand it back. Man, this seems unnatural to do it. And it is. It's supernatural. This is where the face of Jesus shows up clearer for you, on you, and for other people. A number of years ago, Dr. David Fink, a psychiatrist for the Veterans Administration, wrote an article entitled How to Be Released from Nervous Tension and Anxiety. In his article, he outlined his research into the causes of mental and emotional disturbances in people's lives. In fact, he took 10,000 case studies and he discovered that there was a common trait with all of his patients who suffered from severe anxiety. They were habitual fault finders, constant critics of people and things around them. Those who were free from tension and anxiety were the least critical. His conclusions were that the habit of fault finding is a prelude or a mark of the nervous or the mentally unbalanced. Those who wish to retain good emotional and mental health should learn to free themselves from negative and critical attitudes. Thank you, Dr. Fink. I'm sorry, but Jesus already mapped this out for us 2,000 years earlier in the Sermon on the Mount. Instead of Jesus coming from a case study standpoint, he came from the creator standpoint. He already knew what was best for the people he created. So Jesus says, here's how you respond to the craziness of people's actions and reactions. Instead of being critical and negative, what Dr. Fink said, let's do the supernatural. And here's the result of what happened to Jesus. You get what you give, and you will get even more if you give the right thing. Show love and you'll get a lot of love back. Show mercy and you'll get an overflow of mercy back. Show pardon and you will be forgiven a bunch in your life. Jesus was saying, how about letting someone off the hook today? You may have them and have a screenshot of a text they sent to a coworker. You may have your smoking gun on your phone to show them. How about showing mercy today and pardon is what Jesus said. Your goal every day, listen to this, is not to convict someone and find evidence on how bad people are. Our goal every day is instead to pardon when you have the evidence to convict. That's what Jesus was saying. Here is the rest of Jesus' words to those who retaliate this way. Luke 6:35. But love your enemies, do good and lend, expecting nothing in return, and your reward will be great. And you'll be sons of the Most High, for he himself is kind to ungrateful men and evil men. Did you see that? Your reward will be great when you retaliate God's way. What kind of reward? Here it is. Listen to verse 38. Give, and it will be given to you. They will pour into your lap good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. For by your standard of measure, it will be measured to you in return. When you read the pressed down verse and the shaken together, running over, I've grown up in the church and I've heard this verse used with money all my life. And I hate to tell you this, pastors, leaders, there are no dollar signs around this verse. Read the prior 10 verses to see what verse 38 means. It has to do with you give to men who hurt you. It's a new level of relating to people. It's really a verse of what happens if we retaliate the right way. Over the years, men have preached that the give in verse 38 is money, but not according to what Jesus said. There are enough of verses of money in the Bible that we don't need to make square pieces fit into round holes. And Jesus is not talking about giving money, but he's talking about giving pardon and giving mercy to people. In New Testament times, they wore outer garments in such a way to have a pocket in the front, which was used for holding wheat and grain that had been purchased. They would buy a pocket full of wheat, pour it into the pocket, and press it down and would shake it together to get as much possible in it that they could fit into that pocket. If the purchaser received so much wheat or grain that even after doing it, it still overflowed outside of his garment, he was considered as he walked through to be especially blessed. It could be visibly seen in it leaking out of the pockets. When it leaked out, you were called blessed. And Jesus was saying, when you show mercy, pardon, love, generosity who deserve the opposite, then get ready. You're about to get a whole bunch of mercy, pardon, love, and generosity coming your way. So much that it's going to start leaking out. Retaliate the right way, the Jesus way. The rewards are amazing. I could have saved Dr. Fink the time and government money in studying 10,000 cases and just had him study the Sermon on the Mount in Luke chapter 6. Thanks for joining the 260 Journey.